Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Monday, March 24th. I am Darrell Watkins, the senior minister here at Sunshine Cathedral, an auxiliary bishop of the Global Justice Institute, and the current president of the Divine Science Federation. With me today is Bishop Robert Griffin of the Global Justice Institute, Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, and Reverend Kevin Tisdall, all of whom minister with me at Sunshine Cathedral. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about our progressive faith community and how you can be a part of it no matter where you live in the world. And if you live in South Florida, be sure to check out the Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts, offering entertainment for the LGBTQ+ community to benefit the LGBTQ+ community. Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. There is no streaming TV show like this in the entire world. In 2025, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of Hotspots Magazine, the 5th anniversary of Queer News Tonight, with nearly 10,000 stories and 10 million views in 2024. We will produce the 25th anniversary of Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th, Diversity Pride in August, and now the near 50th anniversary of Pride Fort Lauderdale in February. We are the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies. If you enjoy the Queer God Squad, please share this or other episodes with your friends, family, and social media communities. This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. Queer God Squad advocates nonviolent moral dissent. The Trump administration's attack on brown immigrants, transgender people, education, diversity, and history itself is upsetting. But there is so much more to add to the reasons to worry.
Repairers of the breach released an open letter on the first day.
So just starting with Robert.
Repairers of the breach released an open letter on the first day of Lent, calling on the nation to engage in a season of nonviolent moral dissent. Quote, "We are calling on political leaders to stand against extremism and dangerous budget cuts being proposed by the new administration and Congress, which threaten the lives of millions of people," end quote. The letter began.
The long letter also included these strong words, and I'm quoting, "Even though we know what could be done to end death-dealing poverty, and we have the means to do it, we have allowed extreme inequality to fester like a sore in our common life, and a false populism has emerged in response to pit us against one another across dozens of dividing lines. This moral travesty has resulted in the current constitutional crisis, which has not been resolved by our system of checks and balances. In violation of law, Donald Trump is abusing the power of the presidency by allowing Elon Musk to freeze funding allocated by Congress. While Congress has a responsibility to check this abuse of power, it has instead invited its rogue executive to address a joint session while instructing its committees to prepare a budget based on the same lies that have been used to justify the illegal funding freeze. We must be clear. We decry the tyranny of technology and refuse to bow to the god of efficiency, because this distorted faith is a violation of our moral commitment to equality and freedom that an imperfect government was fashioned to sustain. If people's lives and livelihoods can be dismissed as waste without due process, we forsake our moral commitment to equality. If an unelected technocrat can delete the financial commitments of a government established for the people and by the people, we betray our moral commitment to liberty. If political leaders are willing to forsake their oath to establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility in order to appease billionaires, we reject our ancient faith and the moral foundation of our common life. If Congress will not stand by the commitments we have made to partners and vulnerable neighbors around the world, we abandon the moral foundation of the fragile peace we hope to sustain," end quote.
The letter continued, quote, We pray for the nation we love because we know that the people of our communities have the power to reclaim our moral commitments and reconstruct our government. This work is not easy. It will take time and it will take sustained effort. But it begins by telling the truth about where we are, repenting of the part we've each played in forsaking our moral commitments, and standing together to insist that we can become the America that has never yet been. End quote.
The Queer God Squad shares these sentiments and this commitment to restoring integrity, compassion, and equity to our nation's shared life and governance. Join us in working and hoping for better days in this weary land. Whew.
Yeah.
Well, kudos to the authors of that document for bringing this to our attention. Almost it's a call to action.
Yeah.
Is what it really is. And
You can hear Bishop
William
Barber's
Yes.
syntax
and all of that,
cadence, yeah.
and those around him. It's like, well, I think the most important thing is that, you know how we used to, Pulse to the Souls. This is now Souls
Yeah.
to the Street.
Yeah.
This is a call to get into the street. This is a call to act up. This is a call to be mindful of our own consciousness as we bring our concerns to this fight for justice. And the number thing is to call it out, with the president, with mosques, with Congress, and hold them accountable. We are the people. We are the ones who vote these folks in and vote these folks out.
If we'll vote at all.
If we'll vote at all. And I'm just a firm believer, what can be done can also be undone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking for the power to undo all the unjust things that this administration has already done, even though a short period of time. It may take some time before we're able to do that. But by being able to say we can undo these just things means we have to lend our voices to the cause. We have to lend our bodies to the cause.
Mm-hmm.
We have to lend ourselves to the call and use whatever positioning we might have in our community to amplify what we've been called to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I loved about this letter, it's a long letter, and we only read part of it, but you can find it online and read the whole thing, is that it is an affirmation of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is the faith that we represent. This is the faith that we share. I don't care what you believe about something that I can't prove, that no one can prove. You know, that God is green and has three breasts and sleeps throughout the winter or whatever. Yeah, you can't prove it. You can't prove anything. That is your opinion. Maybe it brings you a lot of comfort. Maybe it gives you a lot of strength. But you can't prove that anything is divine. Now, I choose to see things as sacred and as divine. I think when something is harmonious and beautiful and life-giving, I call that divine. I call that sacred. You don't have to. You can call it something else. That's not what sharing is. That's not what faith is to me. Faith isn't making you share my opinion, because then I'm locked into it. I made you do it, so I can't change now. And the more you know, the more you think, and the more you experience, your opinions change, which means your beliefs change. So faith has to be more than your belief in the moment. This is faith that says we believe that we ought to be good. We believe that we can be good. We believe that we can be fair. We believe it is our job to speak out to make things better. So this is a faith based on compassion and empathy and justice and fairness and love of neighbor and self and even of enemy. This is about taking responsibility for our world and for ourselves and for our relationships. That's my faith. Mm-hmm. Now, you can say, well, that's what God wants me to do. Okay, say that. I don't care. Or say that's the God in me coming out and helping me be my best. Okay, say that. I don't care. Say, well, I don't even believe in God. You could do all those things without God. Then just do it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not arguing with anybody over, say, I don't know what happens in the next life. I can't prove there is a God. If there's a God, I can't prove that she cares that we do this, that, or the other thing. But what I do know is that when I see people suffering, the humanity in me wants to do something about it. And when I see injustice, the humanity in me wants to make that more fair. And when I experience injustice, the humanity in me wants to fight that and not accept that. Yes. And so this faith is a very human faith. It's a civil faith, and I'm here for it. This is the faith that we at the Queer God Squad and we at the Sunshine Cathedral are embracing and promoting. We believe in love, we believe in justice, we believe in fairness, we believe in equity, we believe in compassion, we believe in hope, we believe in and beauty. We tend to call that sacred, but you don't have to. But please get on board with doing right. And when I say right, I don't mean don't get a divorce. I couldn't care less about that. I'm not saying you shouldn't exercise your procreative freedom. I'm not saying don't ever swear. I'm the last person to say you shouldn't swear. Trust. No, when I say do right, I mean the right thing for the planet. I mean the right thing for the people you love. I mean the right thing that has to do with integrity and kindness and compassion and generosity. And so that's what I love about this, is this moral dissent as an act of faith.
Yes.
And even as an act of worship. And you can be a humanist, you can be an atheist, and this can still be your affirmation of faith. Because our faith is things ought to be better than what we're seeing coming out of the White House. And our faith is we all deserve better than that. Now let's act on our faith.
Right.
I am a child of the 60s and 70s. I was born in the 50s, but I don't remember any of that. The 60s were a time of peace, love, and whatever else. The 60s were a time of civil disobedience. The 60s were a time of civil rights activism. A lot of stuff happened, both for the African American community and for the queer community. And that's what I grew up with. So it's not unusual for me to say it is time to get off my butt, get my butt out there and start making noise, make some good noise. Get out there and make sure that the world sees what's going on. The world sees it. I should say, wake up America. Because there was a meeting today of many of the NATO nations to talk about what to do with Ukraine. And gosh, the United States was not invited. That's a message. The nations of the world are waking up to a new reality. America needs to wake up to that new reality.
NATO exists to keep Europe safe.
Yes.
We can't right now be trusted.
That's
with
what
Exactly.
they're saying. That's
Exactly.
exactly what they're saying. But we in America can't trust that our government is going to protect us from the Christian nationalists. We don't know what's going to happen. When we start throwing crap at our neighbors to the north and south, you've got to know that we're in the middle of this and we're going to get hurt by everything that this government is doing. But again, active.
Right.
If you can't walk, write. If you can't write, speak. If you can't speak, tap somebody on the shoulder and point to where you need to be going. Do something. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Zelensky is the leader of the free world right now.
How about that?
Yeah.
And, I don't know that I'll ever have the courage of President Zelensky, but I have enough courage to say that about him. I have enough courage to say he's a hero. You know what I mean? Do what you can.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we're starting to see little things now. There are protests that are happening.
Yes.
And I understand that some of the elected officials in Congress and in the Senate and so on are having difficulty keeping up with all of the messages that are coming through. So word is starting to get out. And I understand, we've been kind of coasting for a while. We really have been. We've really been kind of coasting for a while. But now is the time. We really have to step up and we have to make some noise. We have to make good trouble. Isn't that what John Lewis said? We have to make good trouble in order to change things. These officials we elected, they work for us. They work for us. And if we don't like what's happening, and I don't like what's happening at all, we need to speak up. We need to make some change. Got to do it.
I think this month, particularly, is no better month to remind ourselves of this, because we just observed the 60th anniversary of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And all that went into that event for those days, from Bloody Sunday to the March happening across the bridge, to civil rights. We stand on that right now.
That's right.
And look how powerful that is, that they just stood, they just marched, they just sang songs, and the state came after them, not the state of Alabama, but the state writ large, came over with dogs and gas and hoses and clubs and horses. That's how powerful your word is and your presence is.
Yes.
That they have to try to beat it out, beat it. So none of us wants to get knocked in the head with a club, but I'm saying just standing up and saying something, that's how powerful it is.
Yep.
It freaks them out, and they bring out all the artillery.
And I
know how powerful you are.
and I just think we may be at that bridge, at the foot of that bridge
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that as you're talking about people are gathering in a protest, because I read this article about, you know, the news outlets are not reporting on these protests that are happening.
That's right.
And so I think the more that we are made aware that these things are happening around our nation, we can remember our heritage at the foot of the bridge.
Yeah.
And when we gather at the foot of the bridge, get ready.
Yep.
Because something different and wonderful is about to happen and change is coming.
Yes.
There was an entire revolution in the East that happened a decade or so ago. State news didn't cover it. Their country's TV didn't cover it. Their papers didn't cover it. They used this.
Yeah.
They by texting and Twitter, because Twitter wasn't owned by a monster back in those days.
Yeah.
And so by Twitter and by text, these people communicate with each other. They took to the streets. They encouraged each other. Their leadership came from the bottom, and the top tried to keep it all quiet. You know, no coverage, no coverage. They just did it themselves.
Yep.
Keep this on you. Keep this charged up. Record something that you see. Text something that you see. Text your opinion. Text your ideas. As long as we got this, we still have a lot of power. And so we've got this, and we've got this. You've got an arsenal.
You better believe it.
And I want to say, just as a new thing, what he was holding up was his cell phone. That might have been triggered for some of us who remember that little red Bible that we used to have like that.
Oh,
That was not his little red Bible he was holding up.
No,
that's a different cause.
yeah, this is closer to a God than a Bible. Well, that's today with the Queer God Squad.
Before we go, we want to invite you to join Sunshine Cathedral on a wonderful travel experience and help our mission for our community. Join us on the Florida AIDS Walk Pride Cruise. This unique 3-day cruise will sail from Miami on the $1 billion and ultra-deluxe 170,000-ton MSC Seascape on November 2nd, 2025. The cruise is for the Florida AIDS Walk. Your participation helps 13 vital beneficiaries in our community. The cruise is an incredible value starting at just $199 and is also a fundraiser for the Sunshine Cathedral. Parties, special events, and more aboard, including special unlimited beverage and open bar with Wi-Fi for all 3 days for just $68. We invite you to join us on this amazing cruise for fun. This vital cruise for good.
Thank you for joining the Queer God Squad today. We are here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBTQ community is talking about.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. Remember that. We all are in this together.
Also remember, you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.